Ackerlin, and welcome to Video Game Bullshit.
This is Master Daniel Pacina. Get over here to Video Game Bullshit.
Welcome to episode 127, Video Game Bullshit. Oh, goodness. How you been, Tristan? How you doing, man?
Good. Oh, boy. Busy as ever. And, I mean, I sound like a broken record, but we're always busy. It's just a recurring theme with us.
Well, and I think that's just the creative mind, right?
Yeah, but, there's some self-induced stuff in there, too. I talked about how I'm going back to college. I have since, got with my academic advisor. One of the things that was up in the air was, way back when, 15 years ago, when I got my initial bachelor's degree, I clept and Dante's out of, those tests. I tested out of certain classes. It's universally accepted, generally, within college, the college realm. Like, you can test out of these classes, did standardized tests. So I tested out of, I think it was like 27 credit hours, semester hours. Yeah. But UNO is not going to accept any of those.
Really?
Yeah. So I told them to kick rocks.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And I'm going to a different school now, which doesn't start until March instead of January. Yeah.
And then you called clepping Dante's, like Dante's Inferno?
Yeah, so there's Kleps and then there's Dante's. Dantes. Yeah. It's just a different flavor, I guess.
Huh.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just out of the loop because I finished my degrey like 10 years ago, my master's degree 10 years ago. I'm an old man with my walker, but I finished that a long time ago. What school are you gonna try this time?
So now I'm going back to my I guess we'll call it my alma mater, Bellevue University.
Okay.
With graphic design, and it's all online. This one, so
Nice.
It'll be pretty convenient.
That'd be nice.
Wasn't my first choice, but they forced my hand, and I wrote a nice email to them this morning, letting them know why I'm moving on from them. So
well. I mean, the thing is if you think about it from a monetary perspective, not even the fact that you don't need to do the damn classes, but from a cost perspective, 26 extra credit hours is a lot of money. And if you don't need them, then why would you take them?
Well, exactly. And that's something that I was telling them. I'm like, I'm not going to go into my big, long diatribe of what I said, but basically I was telling them that, one, it's a waste of time. Two, it's a waste of my GI Bill benefits. I've already done the stuff. They should be accepting it, and I shouldn't have to go through this all over again. So it would have essentially been an entire year of wasted time.
Oh,
stupid.
That's insane. Yeah, like
No.
Nope.
Yeah,
I don't understand it, man. And like I guess some universities are some universities. Now, is that state or regionally accredited?
Oh,
that
what
that
school?
Yeah.
State. It's state accredited. Yeah.
That's why you don't want to go for state accredited because regional's better. And because there's standardizations, like in other words, keeping and taking your credits.
Sure.
So that's what everybody has told me is you always want regional accreditation. So that would be that's a good indicator right there that they were going to be a pain in the butt, and they don't care because it's state accredited.
No, they don't, and they go and pretend like they're military friendly, but no, they're not.
Yeah, the only military friendly is they'll take your money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take your money, no problem. And it's like,
and I'm like, I can't be the only retiree in this position where you reach out and you're trying to use your GI Bill benefits to start a new career, basically. And if you're a retiree, then you've done at least 20 years, so you're at least 40 years old with 40-year-old problems and bills. You can't afford to take an extra year to jumpstart your career like that. It's stupid.
Yeah, no, that's
Like it's
exactly it. That makes no damn sense.
no,
And another thing about retirees is stubborn.
no, yeah, no, we're not going to be jerked around like that.
No, no, and I bet they've some people just out of convenience probably would still go with them, but like with online
Yeah.
schooling, especially you're working on like design work, it can.
Yeah, I don't care about the so-called prestige of their school. I
No.
don't. I'm going to fill in the knowledge gaps that I have
Yes.
in graphic design. That's it.
Gain practical knowledge.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it is. Like
That's all I
maybe
care
you'll
about.
learn some tricks and techniques that'll help maximize your effectiveness and your efficiency. That would be the win right there. Like
But if
upping your game.
you're making me take basic English composition 1 and 2 again, which I've already done, nah, dude. Sorry.
No, I got no time for that. Like that
Yeah.
would be absolutely not. That's
So that was my last like half of the week right there, just trying to get everything figured out and try and pave the way forward on this college thing. So I think it's set in stone. I am going to be going to Bellevue University again.
okay.
Yeah. So and they will be accepting all of the credits that I have earned.
Interesting. Well, so on my side, I don't think we talked about the news last week that happened to me, did we?
I don't think so.
The news that I'm leaving Hawaii.
Oh, that. Yeah, no, we did not talk about that.
Yeah, so I found out a week ago the unatanium is happening, which is the Army will not be allowing me to retire early, and they're sending me to Sergeant's Major Academy. And the interesting piece of that is I was planning on retiring because I didn't think it was an option, because the year prior they picked up like 5 people in my field, and I'm in the top 10%. I'm not a 1%er in the 1%, because top 1% of the 1% of the, like you're talking these minute like opportunities. And this year apparently there are a couple more slots, and my name is on the hard list. And I was like, well, when the option is go or get out of the Army without retiring, I will be going 100%. That being said, even though I was planning on retiring, if I'm going to go somewhere to train, if I'm going to go somewhere for a promotion, I'm going to go all in. Like I'm going to go full blown. I'm going to do it the right way. And then when the next opportunity for retirement comes up, I will take it. But like, I'm not going to just sit there and like be all mad about it and go there and drag my feet. Like, no, that's not how I do things. I mean, you could tell, like, even when we're doing projects, like go all in, but,
Sure.
I did want to retire. That would have been nice. It would have been nice. We're talking like in the 40s, like retiring, which is ridiculously awesome.
Yeah.
I'll still be able to retire in my 40s to just be late 40s or mid 40s or late 40s instead of early 40s. But it is what it is. I have an opportunity, and I am pretty good at what I do in the military, so it'll be nice to continue. Fun stuff though. So yeah, I'll be in the summer moving to Texas for training for a year. And then who knows where. That's the glory of it. It's the glory of it. The other thing for news for me that came up is right here above my right shoulder.
Yeah, buddy.
So this right here is the advanced copy of the complete NES. I
so
posted
good.
an update for backers. I had purposely done the silver and white to imitate the actual NES box that didn't have a red logo, but it's like more of a grayish. And then this is the slipcase edition. This is the book.
Oh man, that looks like a thick boy.
It is gigantic.
That is a thick boy.
So I don't know if anybody realized I was going this big with it, but it is over 500 pages. It's like 530 something pages big. That's what I say. It's like the definitive edition. Like this is the definitive edition.
Jeff and I like them big.
It's insane how big we went with this one. And the thing
Indeed.
is that like I updated everything. I did it abridged so that way you have all the title screens instead of a tiny write up in this definitive version, just to give it a different flavor than the original.
Yeah.
Then of course going into all the stuff
Love it.
of
Love it.
the different verses. You got your play choice 10s, like then you
Ooh,
go.
I love that you have the top screen on those. That's cool.
Oh yeah, play choice 10s. Oh yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah, very cool.
absolutely. And then of course, you got your unlicensed. There's European exclusives in here, super bootleggies, super bootleggies, like your Crime Busters for the Phantom system, the Gradients. And then you got your best of NES homebrew, which I did a selection of the best games of NES homebrew. Some of the games that would rival something that should go on there on the NES back in the day. So there are
Very
a ton
nice.
in here, which includes, because I did the NES Oddities and the Homebrew Revolution, which included everything. This includes some NES Maker games in here as well. So there's a ton of treats in here. A lot of really awesome experience.
Oh yeah, I see Ore Body right there.
Yeah, there's Ore Body by John.
Yeah.
And Premium Edition did the release of that one. And then in the back is the stories. And so these are personal stories from the contributors, and you do it with like a different, different artwork in here, along with like a cool title. You even got like guys like Larry Bundy Jr., Guru Larry doing stuff, gaming across the pond. But there's a ton of personal stories in here, all different types, including some NES homebrew stuff.
That's awesome.
Really, this is a combination of my complete NES, the NES Oddities, and the Nintendo Entertainment System Compendium. All 3 books, but not like every piece of all 3 books in there, if that makes sense. The one thing this does not have that the NES Oddities does is all the Famicom and Famicom Disk System games that I selected in the NES Oddities. So if people actually want me to do a Famicom book, I can do the Famicom book in the future as an addendum, as another version. I might do like a little mini Famicom book or something. But turned out amazing. This is a good palette cleanser while we wait for the main shipment to arrive, because freight shipping ports have been insane. It's Christmas time. So I've been literally waiting on the books to arrive at the US customs, and then it'll move to the shipping warehouse, and I will ping all the backers one last time to make sure their addresses are updated, and they will go out.
Yeah.
I was hoping it happened like months ago, but there was apparently some giant Apple created shipping madness from overseas, where like they did a bunch of updates. Apple did this and like caused a giant backlog of all like pallets or something. It's like real world stuff that affects like Kickstarter backers from getting their books is
Yeah, we're Apple, like they kind of get what they want, and everyone else kind of falls in line. So
exactly freaking
yeah,
wild. And then of
we're at
course,
their mercy.
yeah, so that's about all. The only other thing that I got in this week was something that I had ordered. I can't remember if this was a Kickstarter or something else. I got this, the Retro PlayStation Magazine, RPM.
Cool.
And it, from the looks of it, with the date September to December 23, looks like they want to do this quarterly.
I like the signs.
Pretty cool. It's about 60 pages, 60-page little magazine. And it's made by the same guy that did the Vita and PlayStation 3 books. Guy's just a super PlayStation fan. And I like the small form factor. That's the form factor that we're going with for the Metroidvania Chronicles. Same small form factor. Of course, going thick boy with them with Metroidvania, because I can't do anything under 100 pages. I tried. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I don't think I would ever manage to do that either. There's too much to put in.
Well, and like, doing that update with Phil Summers sending me his awesome slipcase, which that thing looks so good.
Oh yeah, dude. Yes.
Tribute to Capcom and all that. Like, so that is going pretty good right now. I guess that transitions to Hagen's Alley stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty good. Yeah, so the Kickstarter's going. I think we got about a couple weeks left. About a couple weeks left. It's about to hit the first stretch goal, which I had mentioned. I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, but like I did not think about scaling back the Kickstarter goals. So I'm actually going to post in the next update for Metroidvania Chronicles that, hey, when we hit the 10K stretch goal, that's going to be all of them except for the bonus one. Like I'm going to do all the book updates, because at that point, I can easily do all the upgrades that I want to do that I do typically with stretch goals, because the page count is at 150 or whatever it is, 100-ish pages. I'll be able to do all those stretch goals in there. I didn't scale back the numbers. I should have done like every $2,000 or something, and it would have been fine, because it is what it is. I shared the game book on Kickstarter yesterday, talking with Paul Murphy, who's the the author, publisher of Game Book Color. And I have the original game book. It's like square little artsy fartsy book on the original Game Boy. This is the one for the Game Boy Color. And I like the way that he writes all the articles and everything. And so he's going to share Metroidvania Chronicles, I think Monday, and I shared his on Saturday and got myself a copy. I told him I would wait because one of those things of, because I've backed so many Kickstarters, I'm like considered a super backer. So basically, when I back something, everybody who has supported my projects, everybody who follows all the things will get a notification. So I waited until I posted about it to back it as well, so that way he gets like the double boost or whatever it is, so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. But I wanted to copy the book anyways, so it was for me. But yeah, so now he said he's gonna return the favor on Monday, which is cool. It's just having good relationships with everybody in the community always helps out, because that's small creators and indie creators. Every little bit you can do that doesn't break the damn bank definitely helps.
Yeah, cross promotion, helping each other out. It's such an important thing, and the aspect of networking is invaluable.
Yeah,
as you were saying. So
exactly. The other project, Jeffrey Wittenhagen's Black Box Challenge, the Twisted Realities book, is submitted for print. I ended up reworking the cover, because the cover has new art, but whenever I submit things, I have to get a specific template for the page size based on the width of the spine. Luckily, all I had to do was shift two things over slightly, and that was all I had to do to fix it, because I already had it done. So that book will be in print. Not putting it up for Kickstarter or any of those shenanigans, because that was part of a Kickstarter with the Black Box Challenge second printing. So what I'll do is I'll end up offering it up. We'll do like a second chance sale, or we'll do a big push later up on the website once it's up and available. Once I have it in hand, and then people will just get it shipped to them. So, but that one's been a long time coming. Giant spreads, awesome writing in it. Like I went all in, and that's why it took an extra few years to do while I'm working on other projects, is I just tried to, make it something special. Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Yeah.
What are you working on?
The same thing. You can kind of see it over my shoulder here. I got a new toy that I got a tablet and a like a little kiosk thing to like hold the tablet in, just so I have something specifically for my books and your books. I'll actually be taking that with me to Milwaukee so that people can peruse our work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when MGC rolls around next time. But yeah, I'm kind of in this unique position where like you can still take your books, they're manageable, but like whenever I have my 2,400 page book, I don't know how I'm ever going to show or sell that at conventions. That'll be a little bit difficult. So
pallet
figure it out. Yeah, I'll be like, hey, this is available for shipping right now if you don't want to lug around 25 pounds. So, but yeah, I'm still working on this. This we'll call it my ball and chain at the moment. Just a weight around my neck.
The
But
tome.
yeah. But I'm on the. I've only got 2 sections left: PSP and the Vita, and then
Nice.
I'm in hardcore double check mode, which Jeff here is helping me out with, and I've got another friend Jeff up in Minnesota that I'm bouncing stuff off of. So I've got 2 Jeffs checking my book right now.
Nice.
And I'm going through and taking your guys' suggestions just to make it a little bit better. And
Yeah,
I'm still on pace to finish this thing up this month. So we'll get there. We'll get there.
I mean, yeah, I was going through and checking it. There's a lot of info, man. I was just doing the Nintendo volume was the last one I was doing. I was like, man, it was a lot. A lot of tequila I drank while I did that. It should be real good.
You're like, I don't know. That one looks kind of blurry. Is that the tequila or is that his book?
Or was I not wearing my glasses?
Yeah.
It's funny though. Yeah, man. It's the thing is that these books are a labor of love and they take a lot of time.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
like, I mean, because I'm working on 2 books concurrently because Metroidvania Chronicles is done, so like all I got to do is get the stories in, and then I add the stories from backers and then send it to publishing. So I am working on Complete Genesis, the complete Sega Genesis. Right now it's only 380 pages, which is interesting because it covers everything like this. It covers everything.
Yeah.
I just don't know if maybe I didn't include as many of the variants and things, but it's there.
Yeah, I mean, unless you dove really deep into like foreign stuff, there isn't exactly any homebrews to mention for Genesis. Not a whole lot, anyway. I'm saying not on the scale of the NES.
Actually, it's the opposite,
really?
man.
No.
Yeah. There are 5 times,
serious?
maybe 10 times as many Genesis homebrews as NES homebrews. It's insane.
I had no idea.
It's insane because it's easier to program for. It's almost like a Unity type deal where they can pop it right in. It was like there was drag and drop utilities for the Genesis. So there was a giant amount of Genesis homebrews. There's also other weird things such as, I don't know if you're aware of the company Pico Interactive.
Yeah.
And so I know Eli who runs it, but he has a crap ton of Sega Genesis IPs. And then I don't know if you know Super Fighter Team.
No, I don't know Super Fighter Team.
Super Fighter Team did Beggar Prince, Legend of Wukong, and Star Odyssey back in the early aughts, the early 2000s. And so that kickstarted a giant thing where I consider that even a different category because they're all licensed Japanese only and translated Genesis releases in the 2000s. So you have those games that were all either Korean or Japanese RPGs. And so this all came about after Pure Solar was released. Pure Solar
was after Pure Solar. Okay.
Yes. And some are before, some are after, but it really exploded with Pico Interactive after Pure Solar. Pico Interactive is like the 2010s is when he started to do physical releases.
Yeah.
And they're all really cool. And he takes the games and gets them translated. And it's all licensed because he owns the IPs and puts them out. I know back in the day in Nintendo Age, he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because he was like literally buying the games and being like, hey, can you guys quit making bootlegs? And the whole community went after him.
I know who you're talking about now.
Pico Interactive.
That didn't click. Oh gosh, yeah, he used to actually go to conventions and like call out people who was selling his stuff.
And he would be like, can you please stop doing all of these? Because he was from Texas, San Antonio area.
Yeah.
Good dude. Great dude. And he's not wrong. He's like, dude, I literally own these IPs. I would like to produce these, but you guys selling the bootlegs prevents me as an independent game publisher from making these games physical.
Yeah.
And so like everybody was like, well, they all were on the wrong end of the argument saying, well, we just want to be able to do what we want to do. Like, and so they would,
sorry, you don't own it. So
they would trash him online and all this stuff. He had a bad reputation, even though the dude's completely genuine, awesome guy. Always has a million ideas though, just like we do. Like he has a billion ideas. I think the dude even has a video game related television channel in Mexico that that he owns, that he could actually put programming on, like that could be streamed online. It's not anything that we would normally use on an app, so it probably would never be popular, but it's still, that's freaking cool. The guy has some ideas, man. Guy has some ideas.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But yeah, so that long story short, that is a section of my complete Genesis. Now, where I did cut about 150 pages is BS sports titles on the Genesis. All the garbage games that I won't personally collect are all in a list. And instead of doing 3 games per page with all the write-ups, and there will be write-ups in the complete Genesis, besides for doing 3 games per page, it's like, 10, 12 games per page. And it's like, and it just lists them all out real quick.
So you didn't have 3 pages on what the difference between Madden 96 and 97 is? Oh, I'm so disappointed.
And I did that for the Super Nintendo book, and it was the bane of my existence. I did not have fun with it.
No way.
And there's a lot of Genesis sports titles. Like, there's more Genesis sports titles than Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
So anything that is a cookie cutter simulation based game, I definitely put into that section. The non-traditionals, I definitely left, like your NBA jams and stuff, in the main section.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody wants to write about NHL 94, they can as a contributor, and they can. And you can write personal story on why NHL 94 is the best hockey game ever produced, because people definitely love it. But that's the thing, though, is that's where the beauty is of the personal stories. So I don't have to like change the scope of the book in order to write it. But yeah, I've been doing all the writing. I'm in the S's on the US version, finishing up the writing of all the sections. And then I went through and formatted, because I hadn't finished the formatting on all the European, all the unlicensed, all the Japanese games, because those will all be in there. I did all the formatting, which means the games, the developers, the publishers, how many players there are, all that stuff. I did that yesterday. And so I was drinking some tequila and knocking out some stuff. It's fun. And the other book that I'm still working on is Switch Collector Year 3, which I'm doing the same thing for that. But one thing about the Genesis is, thank goodness, there is websites like Sega Retro that have very reliable information on it.
Yeah.
And I will give them a shout out in the beginning. Thank you for your information.
Great website.
Great website. And I'm using it to fact check my research. But there's not one of those for the Nintendo Switch. So I have to manually go with a combination of back of the Switch boxes that I have combined with the internets. And it has been a long, arduous process. I am keeping those, though, abridged, because otherwise the scope of those books, it would be the size of your tomes. And this is still going to be a 300-400 page book with Year 3 abridged with no synopsis on all of them and just the stories about it. Like it is going to still be a beast. And that one, I'm just figuring, once I finish all of that, I'll be ready to take that to Kickstarter. So I think 2024 is going to be the year of the Genesis and Switch Year 3. Those are the two major ones. And then of course Metroidvania Phase 2. I will start on that probably soon, honestly. Like once I would rather get the backer stories done first, and then I'll just run right into it and start Phase 2 of the Metroidvania Chronicles, because as you know from this episode, when we're talking Lost Epic for bullshit homework, Metroidvanias there's a lot of them.
It's oh man, yeah, exponentially growing too, just because it's such a great genre. It's universally loved.
Well, and there was a backer comment that was very interesting, and it shows me that I don't think that they read any of the Kickstarter before they backed it. It said in the comments, "I'm a backer, but if you put it, depending on how you describe Dead Cells as a Metroidvania, I am out."
Oh, come on.
And I'm like, well, number one, in the book, I have sections. So there is the unconventional
Yeah,
Metroidvanias, and
yeah,
obviously Dead Souls is a roguelite or roguelike. I'd say light because you get a
light,
little more
yeah,
progression. But it's a roguelite. So essentially, like it has all the Metroidvania aspects you would like, just like a robot named Fight, which also is a roguevania. And it's an awesome ass experience. I actually had it in the modern section, but I can literally just swap it over. Like I could literally
yeah.
move the pages over to the non-conventional, because I do feel like it is more unconventional than your traditional Metroidvania title because of the ever-changing landscape of the levels.
Sure, but I mean, like in in your defense, if you wanted to keep it the same way, like the definition of Castle or Metroidvania is always changing too. Like the more games are out there in that genre, the more you can lump together in different and calling it unconventional, that's smart because it covers your ass, really.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, you would be justified in doing either thing, and for someone to say that they're out as a backer if you get the definition wrong is absurd.
It's so wild, but it does show you how fun it'll be to do the Metroidvania Chronicles because everybody's so passionate about it. It's
So
really
passionate.
cool. Really cool. And I mean, literally, Dead Cells has Castlevania as a DLC, so like it has Symphony of the Night DLC. So you can't be any more Metroidvania than that. And I don't think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, because we did this in episode, I think it was 101. I don't recall that the actual layouts change. The level layouts change in Dead Cells when you're playing it. I thought it's just all of the like when you die, you start over. You have to rebuild, and then you just go through the levels. And I think that the combination of sections that you go to changes, but I don't think the actual level layouts themselves change. Because if I remember, I was carving paths.
I think you're right. I think you're right that they don't change.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the
But I
builds
could
are
be wrong.
different.
Boy,
The builds are different every
I
time.
don't know.
Like your
Sure.
level progress, that like if you go from the like library toxic to wherever to Castlevania area to all those things, that all changes depending on the paths you take. But I'm pretty sure that everything else can be controlled. Unlike a robot named Fight, which is true roguelike, and every single screen is different.
Yeah.
as a multitude of different
Or Eagle
mathematics.
Island.
Yeah.
It's generated differently
Exactly.
by design.
But it's still a roguelite. So it still does have that. So I would consider it unconventional. And so, yeah, it was just an interesting one for the Metroidvania Chronicles. It was fun. Man, lots and lots of projects. And then, of course, we got premium edition games. Going into, I want to say we're about to finally do pre-orders for Rack and Ruin on the PlayStation. And then go full bore into PlayStation production, which will be interesting to see because it's a different realm per se.
Yeah, it'll be a learning experience as is any new endeavor that you partake of. But yeah, we'll crush it. We'll crush it like we always do.
We're gonna try to raise the bar on what it
yeah.
means to do physical stuff, as because we're the creative minds behind premium. We're the
damn straight.
we're the mind. We're the brain children behind that. But we're working on our other projects too concurrently. So it's super fun, and we're always juggling and stacking. Having fun with it, man.
Right? I don't envy you. We have our own lives. We lead our own lives, and we have our own adult responsibilities. You have a little bit more than I do on your plate right now, but we're doing what we can.
Exactly. So what is in the news, Tristan?
Oh, there were a couple things. The major thing that just happened this a couple days ago was the Video Game Awards. If you want to talk about that first.
Yeah. So, what are your overall thoughts on the Video Game Awards? And did you watch them? Because I will tell you, I did not watch them. Because
I did not watch them either.
No interest to watch it. I watched highlights.
It was me sitting here working on my book right here in this in front of my desk. And then people messaging me as they
Did you
were
see
going
this?
on. Like, yeah, did you see this?
Yeah.
Like, holy crap! Well, the one the only thing that I actually stopped working to go and look the trailer up for
I had 2.
was Hideo Kojima's new project.
Oh, I had 2, and it was neither of those.
Really? Oh gosh! If something that you got to know about me is I am a Kojima fanboy to a
Yeah.
fault. I will buy anything he puts out, no matter what. That guy is
Okay.
genius. I love him. I will have his
What is your
children.
favorite part of you having his babies? What is the favorite part
Mhm.
of the trailer that you liked?
Well, as with all of it, it doesn't
Tease.
tell you much of anything. It just doesn't. But um the graphical engine that they're using is clearly state of the art, because holy crap, those people look real. It's insane. So, I would love to know what the game is all about. Obviously, it's going to be horror themed. He teamed up with
I like it.
Peel, right? Or Key? Wait, I can never remember Key and Peel. Like, who's the guy who made the horror movies? Whoever that is, you can roast me in the comments. I don't remember his name, but he teamed up with him, so he's making a horror game, and it was awesome. Like the way Kojima walked onto the stage. I don't know if you saw his entrance, but the door that you walk in for PT, it's the same door.
Oh, cool.
So it was kind of a, FU Konami kind of thing, like and an homage to PT, which never came out.
Which is
So
gonna be cool as hell that they're gonna have something from his brain that'll be the
yeah,
horror genre.
yes, and it's called OD. Not sure what it actually stands for, but it's OD is the name of the game.
Huh.
Mhm.
So, if I could use my analytical brain, not knowing anything about the game, not seeing the trailer,
Yeah.
OD, maybe we're going through the crazy hallucinogenic mind of somebody who's tripping on ODing from some kind of hallucinogenic drugs.
It could be.
That'd be kind of cool. That'd be a really tripped out horror game. Imagine like
Yeah, I
going
know.
through that. That would be freaking cool. We shall see. That's just me jumping off on a deep end
Sure.
with no information. That's amazing.
But if there's one thing that I know about Kojima, just expect the unexpected. That man's brain works in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's just
So you know what the first one that pulled me away from, because I was still at work when it was all airing. The first one that pulled me away that I watched the trailer on was the new Mana game that was announced.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that was one of them that like someone messaged me, new Secret of Mana. I never looked at the trailer or anything like that. But
yeah, so I mean, I watched the trailer. It looks like all the remakes of the old ones that were redone, but a whole brand new Mana game. So I mean, to me, it's Square. It looks a lot like the same engine or things that were Dragon Quest 11 was built into it as well,
yeah,
but
okay.
action RPG. So I mean, if we get something that's awesome, like a a follow-up to the stories and it's done well, I think it's going to be awesome. It'll definitely be a day one buy. Put it and hopefully get it for the Switch. Hopefully it's for the Switch.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it wasn't. I mean,
Yeah.
given that the other remakes were on the Switch.
Yeah, that is if the Switch is still, they don't make an announcement or something for next year.
True.
The only other thing that I thought was awesome that somebody, which was from VGBS, DJ Slope went crazy on it. Daniel Ebertson, Slope's Game Room. The Sega 5 game announcement.
Yeah, buddy.
That's the only other thing that interests me.
Yeah, same. And that was the only other thing that I was going to mention is let's see, there was Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, Crazy Taxi. What were the other two?
Jet Grind Radio.
Yeah, Jet Grind Radio, and it escapes me. But
and it escapes you. Streets of Rage.
No, I said Streets of Rage.
Golden Axe, Streets of Rage.
Crazy Taxi, Jet Grind Radio, and I can't think of the fifth. Oh well.
I think we look it up in line. Look it up in real time while we do it. The interesting thing was though, is I was still at work And I was talking with one of my coworkers, and he was like, "Man, I just mentioned Sega." He's like, "Man, I remember back in the day, Crazy Taxi." And then we watched the trailer live with no information, and then Crazy Taxi popped up, and we went, "Oh crap, that's amazing!"
Yeah. Crazy Taxi obviously is the one I'm most excited about. And man, if they don't bring back Offspring in that soundtrack or in that game in some way, that'd be a travesty.
I hope they do.
Yeah.
Now we're copyright stricken.
Yeah. Oh, Shinobi was the other one.
Oh, that's right. It
How
was
could I
like that
forget?
amazing
Yes.
graphical aspect that looks like Shinobi 3.
It honestly looks like what was who did Streets of Rage 4? It was .emu.
Yeah,
Yeah.
.mu.
It looks like they're doing that one too. I don't know if that was confirmed
Shinobi?
or not.
What the
I
hell?
don't know. Whatever.
That's a VGBS classic, Shinobi, man.
Yeah.
Like we talked about that one all the time. Dude, so cool though. And I like that Sega's getting serious about supporting some of these old IPs. I hope they do well, and I hope that like Konami takes wind. Konami and Capcom. Because like I would love some of the classics to get, this type of treatment, and they just because Square's still going.
Konami's so frustrating, man. It's so frustrating. They'd rather throw their IPs at freaking Pachinko and Pachislo and like coin pushers and stuff like that in Japan.
I didn't even know what Pachislo was.
Yeah, but it's a slot machine kind of thing.
Slot pachinks.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Was there anything else with the Game Awards besides for limiting people to 20 seconds when apparently the dude from Shang-Chi talked about for like a minute about his like broke foot or something, and then like the winner of Indie Game of the Year gets to talk for like 20 seconds, then gets pulled off.
Yeah. Well, the only other thing of note is people are up in arms that I think Spider-Man 2 was nominated for I think 8 awards and didn't win a single one of them. When people love that game, they think that's it was worthy of Game of the Year, which Baldur's Gate 3 ended up like sweeping a whole bunch of categories.
I'm sure we will talk about all these in this episode as we talk about the best games of 2023. I'm sure we will talk about these.
Yeah,
and
we
why
might,
we
we
have
might.
or have not played them, and will we add them to our backlog?
Yes,
that's the interesting piece. And
Yep.
that's the thing. Like, so I see all that, and I see who wins, and I'm like, And like the one game that we probably both played the most didn't win it, Game of the Year. They won some other stuff, but like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For example.
Like what?
Like obviously for us, we played that the most, but that's not.
That's my Game of the Year.
Yeah,
that was hands down my Game of the Year. I lost months of my life to that game.
Yes, like we had multiple episodes on one game, which doesn't happen too often with video game bullshit too. And it was just because we played it so much. That was our life.
Come back on video game bullshit. Like, okay, Jeff, how many dozens of hours did you put into the game this week?
And it was like the perfect storm of me being between units and moving, so I had time to play it too, which is crazy.
And I was like, I was home on disability for like those, sleep issues I was having. So,
like insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of people that are up in arms on how the Game Awards are handled, but the thing is, at least they're doing something, and they're trying to make it fancy.
Exactly, and there needs to be something for the game industry. Obviously, it's such an important artistic medium that really doesn't get the respect even now that it deserves. I would love to see like how many billions of dollars the industry brings in. It's probably a lot more than the movie industry nowadays. But
probably.
Yeah. And just look how prestigious the Oscars are and how like underground the video game awards still are.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
And I mean, and they have major like celebrities on this thing, and it's still like still tiny. It's freaking wild, man. But what else is going on in the news? I know you mentioned something about Sony.
Yeah, Sony. So I'm actually going to read this verbatim so I don't get it wrong. But as of the 31st of December 2023, due to our content licensing arrangements with content providers, you will no longer be able to watch any of your previously purchased Discovery content and the content will be removed from your video library. We sincerely thank you for your continued support. Thank you, PlayStation Store. So what that boils down to is if you purchased in quotes, heavy quotes,
Bought.
if you bought the right to watch any of these seasons, if you're a freaking barbecue pitmasters super fan and you have all the seasons downloaded to your PlayStation, they're not only going to not let you re-download them, they're actually going to strip them off of your console, and you can't watch what you paid for.
That's insane. And my thing
That's
is
insane.
You want me to not pirate things? That's not the way to do it, because at that point you have to pirate things. And
yeah,
where it really makes me nervous is if this continues, there are shows like I was on HGTV on House in a Hurry. Those shows, those episodes are not available online. You can't buy them. You can't purchase them. I have a copy that I bought of my own episode that's on my PlayStation. It's the only way I could watch it. And so you can't. And so, like, if they just got rid of it because of the licensing and delete it, there's not DVDs for that show. There's nothing. No. So how are you preserving that television? Because it's not online. It's nowhere. And that's like the crazy thing. And it's why, like, we talk about the importance of physical media, because you physically own it. They can't take it away from you at that point.
No.
You own the copy. Like, that is wild. Like, why? Is there a reason? Besides for losing license, why did they delete it off your hard drive?
They don't go any further than that statement that I just read verbatim. No other explanation is given.
Because I'm just telling you, like, if I had any of that stuff on my PlayStation, I would be in a hurry to back that all up onto a drive that cannot be touched by the internet. Like,
it's incredible to me that there aren't any consumer protections against this sort of thing. I can certainly understand them taking it off of the store and it not being available for download anymore. Sure. But for them to reach across and take it off of your console, that's unconscionable. I can't understand that. I can't wrap my head around it.
It would be like them saying, all right, Tristan Ibarra has removed his license from the Video Game Collector's Field Guide, and now you have to shred all of your physical copies of this book.
Yeah.
Like, no, F you. I ain't doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm coming to your house. I'm going to open the door. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to shred it.
Like, in front of you. And then, you have no recourse.
That's where us being American, like, all right, do that. I'll have my guns out. Like, you know what I mean? Like pitchforks are out. Like, you know what I mean, though? Like, come on my hard drive. The pitchforks are out. I will crush you. Like, that is.
Yeah, sit there with a gun and aim it at your Wi-Fi router. Like, come on, come and get it.
That's wild, though. Like, so.
I know. So, obviously this opens up a can of worms. Like, where's the limit? What's next? Discovery is a huge thing. They own a lot of IPs, but they aren't obviously the largest thing. And if Discovery is going to do this with seasons of episodes of TV shows and whatever movies that they own, then that means that any content provider can do the same thing, and you can't do a damn thing about it.
Well, like, imagine if they had done this with PT.
Yeah. Reach across and take it away from you.
Because like that was the big thing was that came out. They removed PT never came out. They removed the demo later from the store. But if it's on your hard drive, like those people were selling the console just with the demo on it for exorbitant amounts of money.
Yes.
And because you couldn't get it anymore, but they didn't take it from you. Like, imagine.
No, and maybe the PlayStation 4 doesn't have the ability for them to do that. But now, like if this were, if PT were out now and this happened, I bet they would do that. I bet they would reach across and take it away from your console. Just crazy. This is
why I don't like digital.
Yeah, seriously, that this is a huge reason, and just another a bullet in the chamber of the argument against digital versus physical, and more we're seeing that physical is going away, guys. Like the beginning of next year, Walmart, Target, Best Buy are all basically getting rid of their physical movie sections.
Target is on board now because it was just Walmart and Best Buy last time I
Well,
saw.
if you've actually gone into a Target, dude, it's down to like one rack.
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Mhm.
It's crazy. And that's the thing though, is like it makes me want to go into my cocoon and just play my old games and watch my old movies. I have
Mhm.
a whole repository of VHS tapes that I have ripped to digital that I have on my Plex server that I can watch at any time. I'm good. I'm good for the rest of my life. I could probably never repeat a movie if I wanted to.
You
Like
got some wrestling VHSs?
I got some old wrestling. I'm talking about like Japanese, like tape trade,
Yeah.
like tape trade. I said tape trape. No, but tape trading style. I got all
Yeah,
the old
yeah.
stuff. I got old indie wrestling that I bought from the shows IWA Mid South when it was in
Sick.
Indiana that I would go see in person and buy the VHS tapes. Like I have
Mhm.
all that stuff. And I have it all on my own personal hard drive.
Well,
And
it's a good thing Discovery doesn't own it because they'd be knocking on your door and coming and taking it out of your collection.
that's insane though.
I
There's
know.
no way in hell. There's no way in
And
hell, man.
there's no way that we couldn't talk about that because I can't think of another situation in which that this has happened. At least not advertised in this way because Discovery is a huge entity. Maybe it has happened on a smaller scale without us noticing.
The
But
only thing that I've seen is that when you're like have a streaming service, and on the streaming service, they remove movies and TV shows after the license lapses,
sure.
not
Yeah,
when you purchase the episodes outright. If you're just renting them, got it. If you're renting or streaming or something like that, like
sure.
I'm not worried about that because you're paying a monthly service or monthly price for the service. It's a rental. But
Yeah.
if you pay for the episode, or you pay for the movie, like, you paid for it.
Yeah,
Like
dude, it's crazy. Yeah.
like,
I
get it
I
as
I pay for season 3 of New York Inc. and it's on my hard drive and I downloaded it and Discovery all of a sudden like there's no light, the agreement between Sony and Discovery. I have no say in the matter as a consumer.
no.
And their relationship goes away and now I lose out on the hard-earned money that I spent on it.
And imagine, like, if you're like us and have a giant backlog of things and hadn't gotten to it yet, and
Mhm.
now you can't even watch the thing you bought because it's gone, and you didn't rent it, you bought it, like, so you could
Like
watch it.
I
And you get to watch it once.
yeah, and obviously, like people aren't probably going into the user agreements and reading
What they
the
signed.
fine. Yeah, what they signed. Yeah, you've seen Human Sentai Pad episode of South Park. No, yes, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'm
well,
going
that's
like this because yeah,
yeah,
it's a terrible
gross.
episode.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
horrible. But anyway, people don't read that stuff, and I mean, maybe it's in there, but I can see some class action lawsuits coming out of this.
Oh, yeah. Uh, Speaking of lawsuits, you got a pretty good
Yeah, that is a
transition
good transition.
because there is something in the news.
Mhm.
And I'm not necessarily one to get on conjecture and rumors, but it's so popular that I mean, we probably should talk about it, at least in the news section because we're video game bullshit, and that
Sure.
is the whole charity talk with Gerard the completionist and everything that has perspired in this whole thing. How much are you aware, and did you view the latest and greatest? Because there has been responses on both sides now. The
So,
the accusers, and of course the Open Hand Foundation, which
mhm,
Gerard is a member of with his family. They
yeah,
had provided an official response. Well, Gerard has provided an official response on behalf.
that's good to hear. So that what I've seen is I saw the initial Carl Jobst video. I
Yeah.
saw the follow up Carl Jobst video saying how he's dived even deeper and found more shady stuff going on, and
Sure.
that he hadn't got a response from Gerard. But then there was some news today saying that
And don't forget, there's a whole nother giant YouTube channel that does like deep dives into legal processes, and he's like going off
Mhm.
on multiple hour-long videos too.
Yes.
And keep in mind now, Carl Jupp speaks with very like scripty like
Mhm.
lingo, whereas this other guy is more like we are doing, where we're bullshitting about it. And the issue is that when he goes through that, he is saying things that are not necessarily researched. And so he'll say, "Oh, I'm not a professional and I'm not doing this," but he's like going after
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
this whole Open Hand Foundation and Gerard. And I will tell you that if I'm doing something to represent my mom and I'm doing a charity for that, I'm going to get heated when people come after me with incorrect facts as well. And that
I,
is how
I,
Gerard's video progressed to. And you could see that in his video. And I don't blame him whatsoever. I don't personally know Gerard, but I do run in the same circles as
mhm.
Gerard does.
Yeah.
And never had a bad interaction with the guy. Always been a genuine dude. And even if somehow the Open Hand Foundation was doing some shady things, there's a high probability that, you know, if his parents or his dad is a baby boomer like my dad is, he's not going to involve you in stuff. And so he's going to run this thing. Gerard's not going to be aware of things and assume that things are going on. And when he finds out they aren't, he's like, all right, how do I fix this crap? But I still got to do this promotion and all these things to run my business and do all these
Yeah.
other things.
And
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 so that's kind of where it goes.
I think you're right there, and you know, I try and put myself in Gerard's position too.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree with you that I don't think he was aware of everything that was going
But
on.
what is he being accused of is the question, because we didn't talk about
Uh,
what he's being accused of for this episode, because we didn't
he
explain that.
Yeah, so the backstory is that this Open Hand Foundation was raising funds
Yes.
through charity events
Hmm.
for this for what was it,
Dementia
cancer
research.
research, dementia research.
Dementia research.
Yeah, and
Which is how Gerard's mom passed away.
yes, so it was this charity is directly like, you know, in her honor.
Yes.
So he does all these charity events to raise money, and like has an
Yeah,
affiliation with the golf tournament
he
also that
does
his family.
Indie Land online on YouTube where
Mhm.
he raises money. And then his dad has been doing for like 20 years a golf tournament.
Yeah,
And that they initially started with just donations to dementia research, and then when the Open Hand was created, started to, you know, work that in where they're working with the charity that they started.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
So you know, obviously, like they according to Carl's research and like
Yes.
all this other stuff, he got all these funds, but hadn't actually given them to the charities that he said he was giving them to yet.
And so yeah,
Um,
that was the major issue that the YouTubers had
mhm.
is that they hadn't they had like, you know, $600,000
Yeah.
and they hadn't donated anything. And then there was this perception that there was all this money that wasn't tracked or stored or
Mhm.
tracked with the IRS or something like that.
Sure.
And they didn't know any of the details. Carl Jobst and the other guy, which I don't remember his name, but
Yeah.
he they didn't have all the details, all the information,
Yeah,
but they were
and
making these accusations.
exactly. And you know, maybe they weren't making direct accusations, but they certainly were um making it seem like this is what he was doing.
Yes.
Um so like, you know, that kind of sucks, and that's where I take uh you know, umbrage with Carl Jobst and the other guy, because they're leading all of these YouTube people and the
Down a
entire
rabbit hole.
community exactly to these conclusions that they're trying to draw from this stuff. Like, why is he being quiet? oh, he must be doing something wrong.
Well, and the thing that's interesting is that the major thing, and it's huge, that Gerard did wrong was he wasn't open that they were evaluating charities in order to, donate the money. And it was like a 10-year period, something like that, where there had been no donations. And I think on his charity streams, he specifically mentioned like charities that they were donating to, when in reality they were evaluating. So that's the one major verbiage which they consider, and it is misleading to people, because there were probably people that had donated specifically because it was doing research. And if you think about it, 10 years went by where that money could have been used for research. However, knowing how big charities work, knowing how expensive it is to do research, I feel like if they would have donated anything that wasn't a significant amount of money, and I'm not sure what number that is, but a significant amount of money, I don't think that money would have been used for the research, because all those foundations, all those charities, all of those research foundations have to run their facilities. So in other words, if you donate 50 grand, 100 grand, that might just go to run the building for the year and not even go toward the research. So I think that was the concern. The only thing that Gerard could have done was been clear about that. And because he was now called out on YouTube, now he's responding, and now it's reactive. It's seen as reactive. And that's where it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yeah. And he's known in the community as being an up and up person, and having this reputation for being a good person that doesn't have any guile. He's not trying to pull anything over, and hasn't had a track record of that. So that being said, he should be given the benefit of the doubt. Did he make some mistakes? Yes, he did. But was his heart in the right place? I genuinely think it was.
Well, and the benefit of the doubt to prove his case.
Yes,
and that was the other thing. They didn't give him time.
No, exactly. Yeah, Carl Jobst made that first video saying, like the accusations, and then he had the follow-up saying, I haven't heard from it. And there wasn't a whole lot of time in between.
You're talking about week to week. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're talking about $650,000 and legal issues, you better be careful about what you come out and say publicly, because it can and will be used against you in court.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Gerard.
The interesting part on Gerard's video, because I watched his video on Twitter, the X. I watched it on there, and the interesting part is that they were the accusers were completely wrong with how charities operate and how they're required, and they didn't realize that the Open Hand Foundation had changed categories and things. So there's a bunch of things that weren't required to be reported. Certain things, like the accusers were complaining about, like there not being signatures on the tax forms, but when you file digitally, there's no signature. For example, if you're doing articles of incorporation on a business, there's no signature when you file it with the state, when you file it digitally. There's no wet signature that you do. It just gets filed because the people that file it on your behalf, which is usually a company, files it. You sign documentation that say they're allowed to file on your behalf, and there is no signature on that digital form required because they put the agreement with it. So there was some stuff that was misconstrued there. And then the other piece was, and this is how my reasonable brain works on this, is okay, so somebody is now evaluating us, Tristan. We're running this open hand thing, and we hadn't over years. We've been waiting to get a giant sum of money. We now got over $500,000. We're evaluating heavily, and I'm going to scrutinize these people because I'm about to give them over $500,000.
Yeah,
I am scrutinizing them. Now Tristan's the major guy. I am the son. I'm gonna go, hey Dad, hey Tristan, can you now start we got these people looking at us, there's this whole online shitstorm coming on. Can we now, like, for real, we need to start donating this thing? I found out about this a couple months that there hadn't been downloads, and the reason happened as to, the whole, they're not going to use the money for the right things. I'm gonna get quickly educated on it. But now it's like, all right, Tristan, you need to pop up and you need to donate this crap. That's kind of how I feel like this process went. Is now he's pinging, his dad, his brother, everybody else that's involved. I'm like, no, for real, we need to donate now. And it took a few weeks to a month, whatever, however long it took. And then they made the generous 600,000 first donation for this research. That's going to go toward the research. And everybody said, all you have to do is donate the money. Now that they donate the money, now nobody is coming out they're not putting their pitchforks away for poor Gerard because they're like, oh, well, there's still all this other money that's hidden. I don't think there's any money hidden whatsoever. I think that there is stuff sitting in bank accounts that they're waiting for giant donations to corporations.
Yeah. Yeah, who's to say? But yeah, the jumping to conclusions, and yes, the gathering of pitchforks and torches. Just this it's something that happens from time to time. People rallying around like these YouTubers that let's be real. They make money off of this content, so the more controversial it is, the more views that they get, the more money that they get. And I know that Carl Jobst has been forthcoming about that and that criticism of himself, but that has to be said.
Is that they monetize their stuff, the accusers. Gerard did not.
Oh,
he didn't monetize any of his stuff because he could have easily monetized that and made a lot of money for his completionist channel when he posted that response. He did not. So there's something to be said about that, where he's taking it, no, this is serious. Now let's talk charities, because with Premium Edition games, they are associated, and we are associated with a charity. It's Gamers for Kids, where we set up game rooms for homeless shelters across the country. Now, the same deal, we don't say, hey, we say when we sell a Gamers for Gamers copy on the website that a percentage of that goes towards the Gamers for Kids charity. We don't say that we're going to immediately be donating every single dollar to this charity that we're going to do for this research. What we do is we accumulate money so we can get all of the consoles, the games, and everything, and systems, and go to a homeless shelter, and we set it up in person. And we've done 2 of those since we've been associated with the charity, and there's pictures and all that stuff. We haven't went and done, like, I was talking with Josh on our premium team. We need to do like a website for that so we can start like highlighting, because it's really cool. It's really good news. People are so appreciative of it. But the thing is that it takes some time to earn all of the money to go toward that. We're not doing like an indie land where you're earning X amount of $100,000. We're doing portions of what's left in the profit margin to go toward the charity. So it's slowly accumulating. We're not doing a major push yet until we do, like, if we decide to do like a stream or something, maybe we will in the future, but we haven't done any of that. But we still have to earn a certain amount of money to make it beneficial. And that's very similar to how Gerard's situation is with the Open Hand Foundation, is they wanted to earn a certain amount of money before they made the donation. We need to earn a certain amount of money for Gamers for Kids so we can actually put the game systems and the games in the homeless shelter for the kids. So it's similar, very, very smaller route that Premium does. But it's the same deal. And so, like, year to year, taxes for that Gamers for Kids that Josh runs with his Gamers for Gamers company, I guarantee you they look all wonky and weird and all that stuff. But the thing is that there is proof in the pudding when you actually do it, and you go in hand and you do it, in person, because we actually do that ourselves. So it's a fun thing. It's a cool as hell, but it's not one of those that's like always sexy and always, going through and like we're always promoting the charity. No, like we will do it when we earn enough money for it. And we also don't want to just be all about the charity, because it's like we want to be about the games and be about video, because some people are turned off by the idea of that too, which is weird. I feel like the charity is a great thing, but some people aren't. So we try to do everything. But so long story short, again, is that we have a charity that we work with too, and I understand how some of these things you would wait on it. Now Gerard probably has learned, should have been forthcoming with this. And that's where people are passionate. They're like, I don't care what he did, he lied.
I know, and they just assume the worst, which
Yes.
people just jump to conclusions, and
it's just through omission of information. He should have clarified. Yes. Is that incorrect? Yes, he should have been forthcoming with the details. And those details, I don't think he was aware of until about a year ago. And I assume, because everyone was like, oh, you still went ahead with Indieland after you knew that. Indieland, planning anything takes months and months and months. So my assumption, not talking to Gerard, my assumption is that it took a long time to plan these things, get sponsors involved, get all this stuff going to promote this, that he, at that point, didn't want to completely kill all the goodwill, because that would have killed all the momentum, killed everything to donate to his mom's cause. So like I would have went full blown with that too, and just been like, so now we are donating this here at this point. And the thing is that he has stated that he hasn't spent a dime of any of the stuff. And I mean, besides for omitting details of a process of how the money is being donated, he has said there's been nothing else that has been fishy that I can see from my perspective. Just that one omission. Like, and I mean, and again, like that, the golf tournament and that like looking weird in the numbers when they don't know all the details. So I'm not sure, like, I'm not going to ever attack somebody for doing something like that, because again, like, it's the guy's mom. Like, it's just to represent. I mean, I lost my mom years ago, and my current condition I have with EOE in my throat where I can't breathe is how my mom passed away. I would love to do something for research for that in the future. And if somebody went after me for that, I would go out of my way to make their lives challenging, because that's, you're talking about your parents at that point.
Yeah, it's very personal.
Come on. And so at the end of his video, he did get heated. He did say they will be pursuing legal action against those that are slandering their name without due cause. And the process will be the process. So now they're going to get defensive. Those accusers are going to get defensive because now it's real. And they'll all have to lawyer up, and it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of stuff just for stuff that, like, I mean, that's how they get their views. I mean, Carl Jobst has done it against Billy Mitchell. And it's one of those crazy things, because if you're on the defense, it feels like you're admitting guilt to whatever you're being accused of, when in reality, you're trying to prove your legitimacy. So again, like I said, I don't know Gerard personally, but I do run in the same circles of creators and people, and I've had no reason to doubt anything from that guy for years. So hopefully everything works out well for him.
I think the bottom line is, there's two bottom lines. One is don't jump to conclusions when you don't know the entire situation. Give people the benefit of the doubt where you can, and don't grab your pitchforks and join in the riot. It's human nature. I understand that, but try and do some self-reflection first before you go and post some hate comments. Number two is I don't ever want to be the center of attention of Carl Jobst.
Definitely not.
Ever. Good or bad. I think I'll just stay away from that.
I get nervous every time he does the Billy Mitchell videos, because he always uses these clips of Billy Mitchell talking, and the book that I wrote for Walter
Hagens Alley
that I gave to him, my name is literally on the screen. I'm like, I literally did that book and gave it to Walter. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
It's funny.
Like, it's there though. But I mean, it is what it is. Walter's a great guy.
He is.
I mean, Billy at this point, I think he's beyond reproach. But
Billy.
But Walter is a good dude.
Walter's a sweetheart.
Let's transition to something nicer. So, let's go to a section that I'm going to dub a new section, even though we did it. Talk me out of it, Tristan.
Oh no, you were serious. What am I talking you out of?
Tristan. Talk me out of buying something stupid that I know I shouldn't buy, but I see it online and I really want it. So I've seen a lot of people posting about it, and it looks cool. I don't need it. I don't want it. I don't want to collect for it. The Atari 2600 Plus. People have been posting about it. It looks cool. I don't want to collect Atari.
No,
talk
man.
me out of it,
No,
Tristan.
No.
It's only $120 or $130 or whatever. It's not expensive.
I don't care. Like, yeah, gosh, I can't. Do I really have to talk you out of it? I
yes,
mean, like,
talk me out of it.
Okay, well, one, you're in Hawaii right now and you're about to move, so you don't want to move more stuff. Atari cartridges are always ugly because of the glue that they used. No matter what, even if it's in pristine condition, it looks like someone threw up on them. Unless you're going to buy, and here's another negative thing: if you're going to buy the cartridges that look nice that Atari's putting out right now, they're what, $100 a piece for these collector's editions. Yeah, no.
It was funny. It's like my brother. He didn't even know about it, and he looked at it like, oh, cool. It would be cool because he has collected those. And my brother's 10 years older than me. So
yes, exactly.
And so, but my thing is that I think the only thing I think would be cool, and to buy that with a collector mindset, that's not a player's mindset. So I don't need the console. The only thing that would be cool for Atari is being fooled by the box art. So getting some boxes, Atari boxes that have some badass painting like artwork and displaying those face forward like a rental display, that would be pretty dope. Not the cartridges, mind you, but the old ass beat up boxes. That would be cool. But again, not interested in Atari whatsoever.
No, man. Unless, and you and I are the same age, almost exactly.
Yeah.
So we're more NES kids. That was our generation. Exactly. We're more NES kids. Unless you really have a special place in your heart for the Atari, I would stay away, especially from everything that Atari is throwing at the consumers right now. The VCS, the Atari Plus, speaker hats. They've got all sorts of weird stuff.
It's crazy. Man. And I mean, the other thing that I've been looking into, and I'm not going to, was the last episode, which was the Steam Deck OLED that you talked me out of. But it's not, it's just for the simple fact that I probably talked to myself out of it, that I don't want to reformat and redo.
No, that's too much work, man.
And I've looked into the Rogue Ally and the Lenovo Go. And those look cool. But they're like the Lenovo Go, for example, it has the detachable controllers, and it's just a Windows 11 machine, though, which means you have to continually tinker with it to get it to work right. Whereas your Steam Deck is the software, the Steam Deck software, the Steam software on there is what I love about it because it gives it a consoleized feel. But I don't love it enough to redo everything until, like I said last time, until they have the Apple plug it in, it just transfers everything over.
Everything.
Then you got me. And I will buy a damn Steam Deck OLED 1 terabyte one. I will upgrade because the benefits are cool, but I don't want to spend the time reformatting because I did it all manually myself. It's awesome. I have it exactly where I want it. I don't want to start from scratch.
But yeah, to me, going back to the Atari Plus, 2600 Plus, it's for a very specific consumer. It's for someone who is about 5 to 10 years older than us or more that grew up with the Atari and really has a special place in their heart for it, that has a library already, and they're like, man, how do I play it on my HD TV or my 4K television? Well, hey, we've got something for you. No, it's not for us, Jeff.
And it's not FPGA either.
Oh, it's not. Yeah,
it's not FPGA.
It's not analog. Well, when is analog going to make theirs? I guess
they already. No, they haven't.
No, they haven't made Atari.
You have the other one, but the thing is, I haven't even put the Atari 2600 core on my analog pocket which is
Yeah,
FPGA.
so
I haven't
don't.
even done that with the rounds. So I don't need this thing.
There's
This
another
is-
thing. Yeah, you can just put the core on there and then buy the dock, and then you can play them.
Yeah.
The 2600 plus is completely unnecessary unless you're a very specific consumer.
If you're a hardcore 2600 head.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now people have got it. They've enjoyed it, even though they're like, why did I buy this? Like they've enjoyed it. So
I don't know. I think they're just convincing themselves that they enjoy it because they spent $120. That's just me.
Yeah, maybe. And $120 isn't too bad. It's like 2 video games.
It's not terrible.
No. But on the other side, don't need it. Not gonna play it.
No.
I'm good. Thank you, Tristan.
No, man. Yeah, no worries. Anytime. I'm here for you.
So I feel like what we should jump into next is our bullshit homework before we get to the main episode.
Sure.
The main one's going to go for a minute. We'll talk the bullshit homework and what we're going to play next, which I think we're going to go the year ender big one instead of the game one, which will be fun. So bullshit homework game of the episode is Lost Epic. Yeah, we almost said it at the same time. That'd have been perfect. So Lost Epic is a Metroidvania style game, right? I'm gonna lay the wallpaper here for you. 2D side-scrolling action RPG is what they call a Metroidvania. About a war between gods and humanity. Player becomes a deity-defying knight, the Godslayer, and explores the world as the Sanctum the world known as the Sanctum, to bring the Pantheon of the Six to their knees. Let me see if they have any like good little features in here. There's a big combo system in there, so you combine attacks and divine skills to satisfying combos. There is a giant skill points with giant skill tree in there to upgrade your character however you would like. There's tons of quests and rewards for the quests. You can craft items. There's apparently a fishing game, which I got a fishing rod and haven't figured out how the hell to use yet.
Okay.
There's full voice Japanese voice cast on mine. And that is the wallpaper. It is a really, really interesting game. I'll let you go first, Tristan. What are your thoughts?
I actually took notes this time.
Nice. I did too. I took very short notes, but I took notes.
Yeah.
And I actually played it because Tristan's an old man and took a nap while we were waiting for my wife to wake up. I actually played more, and I got past my spot that I hit a brick wall with yesterday.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I've been having some terrible sleep, so I'm just catching cat naps as a cat dad as I can.
Cat dad naps.
So, yeah, cat dad naps. All right, so the first and foremost, beautiful visuals. It actually kind of reminded me of the Vanillaware games. You know, the animated like Odin Sphere, Dragon's Crown. Really, really pretty visuals.
You know what's funny is like with those games, I have typically not been a fan of the art style when the animation is slow. So when they have like lower forms of animation, it looks like puppets, and I hate that.
Yeah.
This game has the animation though. It is perfect. Like it's not quite
almost.
Not
so
quite.
It was funny. I was watching one of the cutscenes. I'm like, and maybe it was just the character that I picked. But I was like, something doesn't look right. Like, what? Why does it looks funny? And then I'm like, she like the way she was walking, she was swinging her right arm as she was putting her right leg forward. So it was like opposite of, you know, like how you actually walk. Yeah. It was so I'm like, okay, they got that wrong. That's so weird.
What character did you choose?
It was the one in the upper right-hand corner. It was this chick with like this blue and white kind of like blades for armor.
Okay. Mine the girl looks like a demon, has this big demon dress and a tail. And then as you go through the game, you can craft armors and different things, and now I have a kitsune mask that I got for 500.
I do like the customization that you can do in the game, and you know, like whereas sometimes you'll like equip like a sword in a game. Well, it actually looks like the sword that you picked up in this game, like if
Yeah.
you equip something
Yeah,
or the armor or
everything,
whatever.
all
Yeah.
the swords, the
Hmm.
armors. How many hours did you put into it so far?
I
Like,
only played about 2 hours, so I didn't play it
okay.
a whole lot.
I'm about 4 to 5 and 4 different play sessions. Like I played it last
Okay.
weekend. I played it a couple more I played it a lot yesterday.
Hmm.
Um, how far did you get with the upgrade system? Did you get to the hand upgrades
Ooh,
and all the
no,
extra stuff?
I didn't get any extra like whatever they call those like powerful moves that
Because
recharge.
because there's powerful moves, but then there's extra stuff. So when I say extra stuff, I mean number one, I got a spell that brings a shield in front of me to block magical
Oh.
spells. I also have this hand, and there's a bunch of them now that I can craft, and this one shoots bullets.
Hmm.
So I got my swords, and then I can
Boy,
press the
I haven't even
magic
scratched
button
the surface.
and shoots bullets. And then there's different types of bullets and different types. So one will do a heal bullet that'll heal you. One does a fire. One will do an explosion. And they all have different progressions and different upgrades as a
Hmm.
almost like a shotgun, but it's like a hand looking thing. And it's like a little familiar that kind of circles you
Yeah, yeah.
a little bit. Oh no, it's like it kept on. I was like done. And I'm like, all right, cool. This is gonna be a chill Metroidvania, really pretty straightforward. And then it opens up, and then it opens up, and then it
Well,
opens up.
yeah, and that's my next note. Like whenever you start the combat, it seems like super simplistic, like button mashing.
Yeah.
But then as it progresses and you like come across different enemies, you actually have to be a little bit strategic about
Well,
the way you attack.
and then there's like the tap XXX, and then
Hmm.
if you hit the Y for the big attack, and then later you get a charge that'll go through stone. You can use the charge attack with it, and then you got the A, but I think it's the A button, or probably no, the B
Where
button
you
on
launch
Xbox.
them into the
And you
air
can
and
do like a crazy charge attack.
mm,
And it's interesting because you'll have red alerts and yellow alerts. The red alerts you need to dodge, which you just hit R2 to
yeah, yeah,
dodge.
yeah, yeah.
But the yellow ones, if you hesitate and then press the B button, you'll counter them and do massive
Oh,
damage.
cool. I didn't
And I
know
was
that.
able to do that a lot because you get these giant enemies, and they'll come at you and jump, and then as you hit it the right way, it goes, and you like take away a chunk of their health or almost
Yeah, I was
all
just
of it.
dodging all the time. I didn't know that you could parry too.
Oh yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
parry system's awesome. And
Nice.
then I just unlocked the block parry, so I could hit the block parry to stun them. And after you do a lot of damage on the enemy, an X button will come up too, and then you hit that and do a
Yeah.
massive like
Hmm.
blow to them as well. So
Yeah.
to me, like this has some of the best combo system attacks in a Metroidvania I've played, and it's
I
been
totally agree.
like
Yeah.
like I played a lot of them. I wrote a book on it. Like this is
Hmm.
this is like Guacamelee has some crazy combos and stuff. I feel
Yeah.
like this is more satisfying to pull off.
Yeah. Honestly, it felt like a Metroidvania with like Castle Crashers, like
Yeah,
juggling.
like beat 'em up
Yeah,
style,
beat
like
'em up
Castle.
juggling. Yes. Uh-huh.
Like Dungeons and Dragons, Shadow of
Yes.
Mystara,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
Castle
yeah.
Crashers,
Uh-huh.
100%. And I didn't dig deep into Castle Crashers. I really didn't. But yeah, this one it definitely has the combos definitely lead itself to opening up and keeping it from getting stale. So I didn't
Yeah.
get stale at all. And the beginning of the game, it's pretty linear, Tristan. Like it is like the first areas,
Yeah.
it's decently linear. There are spots you have to go back in classic Metroidvania fashion to
Mhm.
unlock, and you can go a little bit further than you need to and get crushed on enemies. But there is a little homing beacon where you need to go, and you follow that up to find the first major boss.
Gotcha.
Um, did you fight any bosses?
I did not. No, I didn't fight any bosses.
So there's
So I was just running
bosses.
around and like
Yeah, because there's like massive enemy, there's major enemies, there's bosses, and then there's gods. And I have
uh
fought and slain a god and fought in massive bosses.
gotcha.
The major enemies, they're usually guarding a weapon or an ability And then you got the bosses that there's a big cutscene and you fight them and everything.
Yeah, I haven't done I must be like right before the first one or something like that.
Yeah,
Because
it's
I
pretty
was
soon.
surprised.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's within the first hour or two. But then the
Yeah. I was kind of
gods.
taking my time too.
Oh yeah. The gods though, they'll be like this. There'll be cutscenes and talking and stuff too, and the god will talk back to you and all that stuff. And
Mhm.
that unlocked the major ability that I was able to get from there on out. So it has opened up a lot. I've went through and grinded around so I can unlock abilities. And initially I was going to a power build, and then I realized that I needed more hit points. Then I realized I also use my abilities a lot. So you want to keep your skill
Mhm.
gap so that way the charge goes up reasonably. So I've been kind of balancing my build as I unlock the tree. And the tree is very interesting. So as you go through the game and beat enemies, they drop these red orbs. And as you
Yeah.
go through and find different chests, there's massive red shards. We'll say shards, so they're not orbs, they're shards. When you go to a statue, it'll let you upgrade and level up with a certain
Mhm.
amount of shards. Then when you increase a level, it gets you skill points that you can go then to the skill tree to unlock your build. So it's very interesting. It's massive. There's probably a shit ton to unlock. I don't know if it ever maxes out. So I don't know if I can just
Mhm.
continually grind shards forever and then just make myself like massive. If you can, that's amazing. I love that type of game because it rewards the more you play it. Cause the section I'm in pissed me off. But I'm going to let you continue a little bit more on your thoughts with your notes first before I talk about later, not late game. Like we're talking, I'm only 4 hours in, 4 hour in game.
Yeah. I really only had a couple more things to add. In that's and you were talking about the upgrade system. It's
Yeah.
intimidating. All of the different systems and like everything that you can choose to upgrade. It's kind of intimidating from the very beginning. Like you pause the game and then you see like everything that's available. You're like, oh my gosh, what the
It's
heck?
insane. Well, and
Yeah,
as you go through the book, most of the stuff's locked.
it's
But
complicated.
as you beat each boss or beat each mission, it will unlock some of those abilities. So I
Hmm.
just like beat a giant dragon. It unlocked the one that has a little ladder on it to allow quicker climbing or whatever. But then
Oh,
now I can add skill points to that section as well. It opens up that section. Very
yeah,
interesting. And of course you go around too and you collect all these different items, these different ingredients. The ingredients are used to either upgrade your weapons, craft new stuff. So there's a whole
yeah,
crafting system that's
yeah.
insane too. Like
Yeah, so
it's
there are just systems upon systems in this game, which is a good thing. You know, it lends to variety and replayability for sure, but whew, little intimidating at the beginning.
overwhelming
It's
much.
overwhelming. It is. Especially when you like, yeah, you know, you pause it and you see like just how much there is to go that you don't have. You're like, gosh damn.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's insane, man.
yeah. And the last thing I was going to say, and then I'll hand it off to you, is the music is kind of repetitive. I didn't enjoy
Yeah,
it at all.
like elevator musicy a
Yeah,
little bit, like
it's
elevator music.
it's uninspired.
Yeah, it doesn't have quite what you would expect out of a Metroidvania.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, did you get the ability to crash through the brick walls, the stone
Yeah,
walls
I
yet?
did.
So that was the one thing I mentioned was ability gating is a bit obtuse because my initial playthrough I couldn't find that ability because I went the wrong way,
Oh,
and so
really?
I was
Okay.
looking around
Yeah,
for it.
like I said, I was taking my time, so I kind of like covered every
Carved
square
around.
inch. Yeah.
Well, and I did too, but it was like the last spot that I went to, and I'm like, man, I
Uh,
can't go anywhere. I was making notes, and
yeah, that sucks.
on the map though you can put a pin on each spot, so you put a pin to remember something. So if you find
Mm,
something on a section, you can put a pin on it, so you know there's
yeah.
something in that section you need to go to. But it didn't require a ridiculous amount of hunting. I just realized, oh, I have to go hunt.
Hmm.
So then you know. There's also secrets where you can go behind walls. So there'll be a wall that you can break open So there's actually the Zelda 1 style bomb every square inch. There is you do want to attack every single side, every single piece, so you can maybe get through. There was actually an ability behind one of those where you couldn't even see it, couldn't even notice it. I just went over to it, it opened up, and there was an ability there. I was like, oh, cool. And it was a cool ability. There's warp zones within the level. Did you get to any of the green spirally or blue spirally warp zones?
Yeah, I think I did.
And so I think those are cool because what it does is you're on the map, you go into this warp zone, and now you're into another cave section.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And then you go through the whole thing. Now, one thing is you'll see these obelisks where you'll get to it. So you'll fight all the enemies, get to an obelisk, and it'll say warp to the outside. However, if you can still continue, usually that's where the ability or the big item is. So be careful when you go into those because there might be something there, and there's no real notification that you missed something in a section. Gotcha. So it's very, very interesting. And it's very Souls-like in theory. So if you die, you lose all your shards up to that point that you haven't spent. And it gets you back to the god statues. It says God slain, just like Dark Souls, like when you beat an enemy too, when you beat the main boss. Now, there is a way that I found to cheat the system for now. So if you die, I'm on Steam, so I just go to the Steam Deck menu, quit the game. It'll warp me to the latest place with all my shards intact. So that's how I did it. Because there's a section that pissed me off that I had to do this a couple times for. So there is an escort mission that pops up. So
oh no.
Yeah. And so there's a section as you're going through, and you may have seen her so far. There's this cat girl, and she's like clawing at stuff, and she'll unveil things. And like give you like little items that you can use to craft. Eventually you get to her at one of the statues, and she's like, can you get me to the castle gates? This is after you slay your first god. She has a health bar that depletes, and you're going through, and she stands, she doesn't attack, she stands around, and enemies will swoop in and attack her. So you have to like strategically kill and attack and all that stuff. So I found a way to hack this so far that I've used. And the same methodology of if you die, if you restart the game, she'll show back up at a statue with full health. Or if you die, or if you go to a statue and then you warp back. So, for example, there's full statues and then there's broke statues. As you go through, you take her with you. She dies. And she just runs away. She doesn't die. She runs away when she loses all her health. So you go to the broke statue. You can warp to the main statue, and then she's there, and you talk to her again and say, hey, sorry for running off. And then you can warp back to the broke statue and continue on. So you can still grab her and take her to the next statue. That is including getting through a boss battle with a giant dragon that shoots fire and gives her burn damage.
Oh my gosh.
So the important part that you don't have to worry about in the first couple hours that you have to later is weaknesses and abilities. So it's a fire dragon. I didn't find it until the second time because this is the only boss so far that I've died on. I died on him like 2 or 3 times. And to the left of an elevator, there's actually a ice sword. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I add the ice sword. The ice sword comes with a shield. You use the shield, use the ice sword, destroy the dude. And then I get to and so I finally got past that boss. The boss unlocked that whole ladder climbing ability thing. And now I'm in the next section where we haven't found where she's going to complete the mission yet. So I still have to escort her through. Me knowing what I know, though, I'm probably just going to let her die, get to the next warp point, warp back, grab her, and then warp over. I mean, I'm not going to worry about trying to keep her alive if that's the case. The other important piece is make sure you craft potions because eventually you're going to have to use potions to stay alive if you aren't a high enough level. So it's either grind your levels up or get potions to supplement the health that will be depleted. Because certain portions, like when they do 3 or 4 red exclamations, you're going to make a mistake and take some damage until you get to the yellow one where you can do the massive damage on them.
Yeah.
And when they're big, the hitboxes are seemingly smaller on the big guys. So it's very interesting, but that is currently where I am at. I actually beat the boss while old man Tristan was napping, and which was cool as hell. And I did get the Kitsune mask, and I finally got the first armor because I hadn't crafted an armor yet, so I crafted the armor. So I have something that depletes some damage on me, and then I have there's multiple hands now that I can craft, which give different bullets, like shots out of your hand, like magical shots. I have one that I got for talking to a character and doing a quest that I had already completed, but there are now other ones. So I got to figure out if it's maybe I get the health one, so I don't have to worry about potions, or maybe I get something that does like massive damage and then I can just use it to supplement. There's also one that increases your attack power. So if I'm real, and I love the combo system, so maybe I'll use the one, increase my attack power and go and crush people.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do that, because the other thing I did for that dragon boss is that there is a potion, a little powder that increases your attack power. So I increased my attack power, use the weakness, and use the shield and like crush the dude really fast. Whereas I was slogging him by myself for a while with a fire sword that did weak damage. And I still almost got him. But I died. And that's when I realized the reset. And then, there's the cat girl again. And
gotcha.
Yeah, so I have a feeling if this game keeps exponentially growing, man, this is an insane game. How long to beat was only like 12, 14 hours. I don't see it unless it tapers off. Like, it is growing, man. And the way I play these action RPG-ish Metroidvanias is I want to be powerful. I want to have fun with it.
Yeah,
so I'll be grinding.
I know. I love being OP in those games.
Oh, that's like my favorite part.
My favorite thing to do in Castlevania Symphony of the Night, right when you get to the inverted castle, you go to the library and get the Chrysogrim.
Heck yeah.
Oh man, you feel powerful.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, it is very satisfying. Now there are multiple difficulties. Did you mess with the difficulty at all? Because
I just did normal.
I've been doing it on easier mode, because there's -1 and -2, and then there's normal, and then there's I've unlocked +1 now. So the fact is that I might go back through the earlier sections with a +1 on and then start grinding around, because maybe it'll drop something that I didn't get if I go back into it. But that's the thing though. So you played for a couple hours. I've played for a couple extra hours, but only really a few hours. What grade are we going with? And will it stay in the immediate backlog, or does it go long-term backlog that we may never get to? So there's the question.
Yeah, it's going to be in my immediate backlog. I do want to play it some more, especially like since I haven't been to a boss or defeated a god. I want to see what those look like.
It's cool.
It only shows you in the beginning cutscene that I've seen, like what those gods look like.
Yeah.
So to actually see it, like and fight it will be pretty cool. Especially with the art style that it has. It's a solid B+ game for me. I don't think I'm going to put it in A tier just because one other criticism in it, it's just a feel thing to me. It feels like a Flash game. And I think it's just because of the
art style and animation style is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to get away from that, honestly, with that art style. That
is what keeps it out of that A tier for me. It's a solid B tier. I'll put it at the B+ with you. I could be definitely convinced of it. That's why it's in the B tier for me, is simply the art style and the animation. Now if you choose different heavier weapons versus lighter weapons, your character moves faster or slower. Yeah. So I found myself, if I use a faster weapon, it feels smoother. It feels more like a Castlevania game. Yeah. And the controls are a bit tighter. Also, when you have too many items, it slogs your character down a little bit. So you got to take your items.
Oh, there is weight. I didn't even think about that. Oh shoot, yeah, because
Yes,
I
and
didn't
so
get that
your
far.
character
So,
will be like sludgy, like you're going through water almost. And so when you go to the statues, you
that's
can
annoying.
or actually when you talk to the witch over by the statue, you can sit there with her and put things. It'll automatically put all the consumables into one. You can do that, but then you can take all your extra weapons and throw those into a box. And I noticed that
Yeah.
it's significantly smoother.
Oh man, I hate that. I hate that they added that.
I'm not a fan of weight gating when you're playing. So yeah, that's
Like
my
Fallout. Ugh.
yes, that's exactly what it reminded me of. So maybe maybe you didn't catch that. If you've been running around
No, I
grinding,
didn't. I
maybe
did
that's why
not
you're
catch
slow.
that. Yeah, I'm like,
That's it affects how fast you attack too.
dang, come
And your
on now.
combos and everything. So it's definitely one of those things you got to pay attention to. And they don't really talk
No,
about it at all.
no.
And only when you first talk to the witch, she's like, "You can put some stuff with me." That's all she says.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very very interesting thing. So that might help you a little bit. And
Mhm.
for me, yeah, we'll put it into B plus. As I continue to play again, just like the last future or the previous B pluses we've had, I may upgrade it later. And it will go into my immediate backlog to play. It's going to stay in my favorites so I can play it whenever I want a little quick playthrough. The other thing I was playing while Tristan was napping was I did jump into Vampire Survivors because there was a new DLC that popped up. Apparently there's Among Us DLC.
Really?
Yeah. And
Okay.
I haven't
That's
played
sus.
enough. I haven't played enough to get any of the unlockables for any of the DLCs. So I played a little bit. I unlocked some stuff. It was fun. And then I was like, oh, Tristan's awake. Let me go record. But yeah. So I would say it's definitely staying in my backlog. B plus game. Yeah, we need to document these grades so we can put them up on the website or something. I
Yeah,
think
for
it'd
sure.
be fun to track it all. Or if we do a book later on bullshit homework. Good idea. Yeah, so as I alluded to earlier, Tristan, I would say for the next bullshit homework, I say we go to the fun one, the crazy one, and then we'll do the individual game later. So when I talk about the fun one, the NES Dev combo, the competition for 2023 has ended and the awards have been given out. And I asked Tristan, I was like, hey, dude, it would be kind of cool if we played all the games in the combo.
Yeah.
The interesting piece is, and this is something where I don't know if there was a reason why they didn't do it or not, but there's no way to download all the ROMs together. So I actually spent one day, one night after work, I actually downloaded all the ROMs, the demos, and put them all into a folder for Tristan and I so we could play them. I'm going to be playing them on my laptop with a Switch controller so I can play them the easiest way possible. Because if I push them onto the Steam Deck, I got to rework everything on the Steam Deck. I'm just going to keep it simple, play it in the FCEUX emulator that does the Mapper 30. I'm going to play them all in there. And I'm going to probably go start with what is number 1 and go down. And down because I know time is of the essence, so we may not be able to get to every single game. So we'll talk about how many we played. I'm going to try to get down the list, probably spend an hour or so with each game, I hope, unless the game's short. And I may have went down a rabbit hole and played the first game for a while unintentionally, just as I was trying out the emulator, and I got addicted to it. So it's a good sign.
Well, that's good to hear.
A good sign. Yeah, so we will do that one. So the next one, we are going to go to the NES homebrew competition, and we are going to play all of the
That's
games.
awesome.
All of the games.
Can't wait. Hey, we should give out our own awards. See if we line up with what actually got the awards.
Yeah, so what we'll do then, that's cool. I like that, Tristan. So what we'll do is we'll write down what all the different awards were given out. There's the overall award, which I'm going to play through it 1 through whatever, right? The overall award.
Yeah.
But they do best gameplay, best art, best music. We'll do that. And we'll say which ones we enjoyed the most for things. And the final piece of it is it a full game that would be something that we would play and buy for the Nintendo? AKA, would we, as being team members of Premium Edition Games, sign this game for a physical? And not only that, does it have the potential, because some of these are demos, if it was completed, have the potential to be a full physical? So there'll be some games, because like some of these, they've only, made it for the competition as a demo. So that's very fair. But does it have the potential? That will be the final category, since we got, ties to a publisher. Like, we could say, would we sign this as a full CIB release? That's cool.
Yes.
I like that. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
man. So we still got one more major topic. Best games of 2023.
But I'm not sure. Well, because
we're time.
Exactly, Premium Edition. So do you want to do like a mini episode on just that, and we can upload it separately?
Later?
Yeah, later.
We could do episode 128 as the best games.
127.5.
I say we just do 128 and make it, because this one's already like an hour, an hour and a half. Like we'll just make another episode. So we alluded to the best games of 2023. We will do that with the next episode. We'll record it whenever we can. We'll toss it up. It'll be fun. We're gonna record before the end of the year, everyone, so we can talk about it. Because I do want to give us some time to play these NES homebrew games too. So maybe we can record that, give us some extra time. Because I want to, like, I plan to try to get through all the games, because I actually want to, give every developer the time that they deserve. So this is the Lost Epic episode and talking charities. That'll be charities in the Lost Epic. It is a fun one.
And Lost Epic ended up being a really solid title to play too. So it was really good.
And this was random, like retro randomizer, man. Like I didn't put it in Metroidvanias. I put it in, the backlog. And we got a Metroidvania that's solid and it's huge. And like, I mean, if this doesn't have a physical already, like I will talk to the team and be like, dude,
I mean, honestly,
like, it's awesome. It's just the artwork, but maybe you just need to lighten your load there, Tristan, and maybe we're good. I don't know.
Yeah, eventually.
Yes. So those of you that are listening, we appreciate y'all. We did post on social media all of the Anchor / Spotify atmospherics. There's a lot of listeners that like consistently listen to us every week to week. That's cool. That's why we do this. Like, we don't need a giant, huge following. Like, a couple of y'all are awesome. We always get comments and people chat with me either on, Facebook or Discord. But that's awesome. That's fun. That's why we do this, that. And plus it allows us to, kind of track our history as we're doing all the projects, which is fun as hell. That's why we do it. And, tribute to Kyle. You didn't know this, but Kyle's name on Nintendo Age was Grumble Grumble.
Oh, nice.
I got this at the grocery store.
Dude, that's really, really I had no idea that his name was Grumble Grumble. Like, I already told you, one of the things that I'm sending you in the care package, it's that Grumble Grumble food up there.
Oh, no shit.
You're getting one of those, yes.
That was his name.
I had no idea, dude.
And literally his picture at Midwest Gaming Classic was him with a piece of pizza. Grumble Grumble.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like
cool.
Oh, and that is the final piece. Just so we can end it on a great, note, is fortunate to be doing these awesome books. What I did in the beginning was a tribute to Kyle. So there's him with the piece of pizza at Midwest Gaming Classic right there.
Very cool.
And there's him in the top corner with my daughter playing piano at the Retroseum. There's him and I as kids. Like, we're drinking margaritas, Margarita Massacre, right before I got banned from drinking tequila for years. Apparently, I went through Walmart on my back on a skateboard, drunk.
Uh-oh.
Did some fun stuff. But fortunate to be able to do things and still tribute,
Yeah.
to the legacy that, Kyle had left behind with video game bullshit. My editing ain't quite as great as his, but hopefully we're creating awesome content for all the listeners and
Heck
viewers. This YouTube side is all Tristan, man. Like I'm not great with video editing. I can do it. I'm not great with it. It'll look like a child did it if I did it. You can see the old YouTube videos on this channel if you want to see that. I did some cool stuff, but I'm an old school person. But we appreciate y'all for listening. Next episode, prepare to us to talk 20 games of 2023, and we'll have fun with it as old people and busy people at what we look at and what we look for. So thanks everybody for listening. We will see you next time.
Later, guys.